Welcome back to UC Health Training Center, and a special welcome to our training camp sponsor, presenting sponsor, Ford. Thank you for being here today. Looking forward to a great partnership. We appreciate your support. Exciting off season, I thought, for us. I know a lot of you got a tour yesterday of the new facilities. Let me move up a little closer. And my hat's off to Chip Conway and his staff, Saunders Construction Company, and everybody involved with the project. I just walked through the locker room, a lot of players back getting ready for tonight, and several were quite complimentary of all the work that's been done. I think it creates an atmosphere to enable them to have success, and so really excited when I saw that completed here for the first time. So with that, we're off and running. Looking forward to the season getting underway, and I'll take your questions.
Mike? Yeah, Joe had some interesting ownership news this offseason. I guess just to start it off, Brittany Boland, does she want to become the successor to her father someday? Yeah, she's expressed an interest to us, I will say that. And, you know, she's taken some steps, some good steps along the way in terms of education. Just finished up her MBA at Duke's Fuqua School of Business, is headed to work for one of the world's, frankly, leading consulting companies, McKinsey & Company, where, you know, we talked it through. She's going to get some incredible business experience there, from strategic management to marketing, finance, overall management perspective when they work on case studies and stuff. So she's excited about that. She starts that up pretty soon. And we'll see where it goes from there. We're not anointing anybody or anything like that, but she certainly has expressed an interest, and she knows it's going to take some time for her to get ready. She's not ready yet. She's admitted that to us, obviously, and so we'll see where it goes, but she has expressed an interest.
Troy? The NFL has expressed confidence in how the trust is operated. Are you worried that stuff that happened this summer would any way impact, or how do you view that, given we're not used to seeing kind of those things become public around here? Is there any concern about where the trust is, or any of that becoming a distraction that would force the NFL's hand? Not that I'm aware of from the NFL or any owners. I've received a lot of calls and support, and I think many of them knew what Pat's plan was. That had been expressed to them, so we're just following through on that, and we'll continue to do right by that plan.
Ryan? Hey, Joe. Brittany, what kind of characteristics do you see right now that, you know, gives you optimism that she could lead this team in the future? Well,
I just said, you know, what I just said, Ryan, and it's probably as much as I will say, because I don't want to get down too deep on it. But I mentioned her education and her work experience, and you know, there's some general qualities and things that we'll look at. There's no checklist per se, but comes down to some areas of education, experience in the workplace, judgment, integrity, leadership capabilities, earning the respect of people in the organization, lots of things like that. And so we'll see. You know, she's worked here a little bit, but she hasn't been here much as an employee. She will come back someday, I'm assuming. So we'll see where it goes from there.
Jeff Legwold?
Joe, John said earlier today you have outlined the team's anthem policy to the players. I was wondering if you could convey that to what it would be.
No, I'm not. I had a good conversation with the players right after the league policy was implemented, and we talked about what that entailed. Since that time, it's gone back to a sit-down between the NFL and the NFLPA, and so for now I'm just going to sit on the sidelines, as most teams are, I think. I know one owner spoke out yesterday on his own right, but we'll just wait and see what comes out of that for now.
Nikki?
As far as the succession plan, is there any sort of trustees in the trust on when you would like to make that transition?
Well, from my standpoint, I think it should be as soon as we can. But you know, we take this charge very seriously, and we're not going to rush into it. The league has acknowledged that we've kept in compliance, we've kept them informed, and they're allowing us to proceed with Pat's plan as he wanted it. But I don't have a specific timetable for that right now. I do think it'll be a good thing when an owner is named, whether it's a child, or if some child was not deemed capable, or no child was deemed capable, then there would be an owner. I do think that that's something that needs to happen for sure, obviously. But I have no specific timetable other than a sense that I'd like to see it move along as quickly as we can move it along.
Selling ever come up in this conversation this time?
Not really. I mean, Pat said if no child is qualified, then you should sell the team. But he would like us to make every effort to see if a child is quite capable of and has the ability to and has earned the right to sit in his chair.
Lindsay?
Hi, Joe. Just to follow up briefly on what Jeff asked. I know you said you're going to sit on the sidelines. Other owners across the league, though, have notably Jerry Jones has been very vocal about saying that his players will stand. What is your internal policy, or is there a potential that players could be fined or suspended or cut if they don't adhere to whatever?
I addressed it with the players. Some of them spoke to various members of the media. I'm going to leave it at that because I want to wait. As I said earlier, I want to wait and see what comes out of these conversations with the NFL and the NFLPA, because I don't know what effect it'll have on how we implement a certain policy that the league mandates or doesn't mandate. We'll find out when that comes about. And I don't know the timeline on that. I've been told, I think, sometime, obviously, before the start of the regular season.
Mark?
We all ask you when you're going to name an owner. If I've done my homework correctly, you have a milestone birthday coming up this year. You personally do.
Milestone birthday?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. 61 doesn't. That's not much of a milestone.
You're already 60.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sadly.
You're an old guy like
Can't
myself.
tell, huh?
How much longer do you want to do this?
I want to follow through on this for Pat. He asked me to do this a long time ago, and he's done a lot for me, and he's done a lot for my family, and I know what he wanted, and I know what he wanted out of us, the three of us as trustees. I know what he wanted out of me in serving in his place due to death or incapacity, and I'm a placeholder, but I'm going to see it through, and I don't know, Mark, when that will be, but I am going to see it through. And I think it is important. We got, Pat was very clear on this. It's important to do this the right way and think it through and not be hasty in your decision, because you don't have just an obligation to my family. You have an obligation to the National Football League, my partners, and most importantly, to this community and our fans, that we put the right person in there. So we're going to see through it that we're going to go through it that way.
Being a placeholder, what's the challenge to that? Is it
it sort of is what it is. I don't like that phrase much, but it's kind of what I use. And as I said, if there are challenges or complications or things like that, that's just part of the deal. He asked me to do something, and it's important. It's important to him, and I'm obligated to him. I'm accountable to him for that, in my opinion. I just hope that between myself and the other two trustees, and in the interim running this team, I can do right by him, and in turn, right by this community and all of our fans and the other constituents.
Mike?
Yeah, Joe, can you tell us why it's taken a little while here to get the stadium name, and has it been a little longer than you anticipated?
Yeah, it's like Groundhog Day, isn't it? You asked this question the last 3 years. Yeah, it has taken a little bit longer, but the longer it takes, actually in seeing the landscape and in talking to people, the more patient I've become, which sounds kind of quirky, I understand, but it's very important that we get the right partner. It's very important that we do a deal for the long-term viability of the building. I wouldn't want to see the next owner of this team several years down the road faced with the challenge of trying to build a new stadium. And we've got to try and sustain. It's a great stadium we play in, and we've got to try and sustain it, keep it modernized. And a naming rights deal is a small part, but an important part of doing that, given the funding that we'll get. It's going to take a lot of funding to keep it up, to improve it, to modernize it. and you got to get the right partner. We've talked to a lot of people that we, thought might be good and might be close, but then, not sure they would have been viable in the long run. We're still having conversations. I'm optimistic we will get a deal. I'm not putting a timetable on it, but I am optimistic that we'll get a deal. And for now, we have the placeholder name, and someday, it'll be something else at Mile High.
Ryan?
So, Bolin went public last month with her, what she wants to see happen with. From your point of view, what is she lacking that is not consideration at this point?
Ryan, we addressed a press release that she issued in a form of our own release from the trustees and a statement from me on behalf of the Broncos, and that's just going to speak for itself. That's all I really want to say on that at this time.
Nikki?
Another year, Pat Bolin possibly up for contributor finalist for the Hall of Fame. How much would it mean to this organization, to you, to have him finally get in the Hall of Fame?
Well, it would mean a lot for him and his family, first and foremost. He would never admit that. He was very modest and very humble, and I'm not sure he'd enjoy all the attention that this has created for him, but certainly it's well-deserving, and I think a lot of us that have been around him for the bulk of his ownership, really, I've been involved since the first day he was here, and even when I was at the league office working with him on some committee stuff and whatnot. It's well-deserved. It's time. This is the year. It'll be a great thing for him and a well-deserved honor, and I'll be very happy when it happens.
Time for a few more Ryan comments.
Hey, Joe. In January, you had told us you had felt a responsibility to rid complacency of the building if it had creeped in. Were there specific steps you took during this offseason to try and do that, and do you feel you succeeded?
I think John Elway and Vance Joseph took over the reins on the football side and have done that and have pushed the reset button. And, for Vance and his staff, it's another year of familiarity. And I went to like 5 or 6 practices and the OTAs in one of the mini camps, and my sense is there's a certain confidence there, maybe, that sometimes a new coaching staff gets to know each other, takes a little time to blend and move together, and I recognize we have some new coaches as well, but I'm optimistic, and coming off of last year, everyone needs to improve, and I think that's what's going to happen, and I'm really excited, looking forward to it.
Final two, Eric Goodman and then Ryan.
Joe, is the trust open to Beth Bolin owning this team, and if so, what does she still need to do?
As I said to Ryan, I'm going to say the same thing to you. Anything we've said on this matter was said in a press release that we issued back last month or early June or late May. I can't remember when it was. I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm not going to comment any further.
Last one, Ryan.
Joe, you should be one of the coaches. How much have you seen Vance grow into his role in year 2 and be more comfortable?
Well, I've admired his honesty throughout, the course of last year and what it's going to take to improve this year. And I think if you're honest and forthright all the time, you'll earn the trust and respect of the players. And I think he's captured that. And as I said, I think he's going to do a good job this year. We'll see what happens. We got to play the games. It all takes place on the field, but people say, well, I hope he improves as a coach. I hope everybody improves, frankly, Everybody needs to improve. Everybody that plays, everyone that coaches, everyone that works in the organization. If you're not about that, I don't think you're taking steps towards success. So.
Thank you very much, Joe.
That's it. Thank you all.